It's me again. Hey everybody out there, hey, it's Darren, and yes, I'm a little late on my second video. I think I sent a message or posted a video back in November saying I'll be back next weekend, and that was November. It's now July. So I'm back, and I'm here today to talk about John Sykes. John Sykes. Who's John Sykes? John Sykes is ex of a band called Whitesnake, as you may or may not know, and his most famous album with them was the 1987 self-titled album, which had the song Still of the Night, and a lot of this. It seemed to be his trademark. There's about 5 songs on that album that start like that. Anyhow, a lot of people on YouTube talk about John Sykes, but they never talk about that sound, but that's my favorite part of his guitar playing, I think. But anyhow, John Sykes started out in a band. We heard of him in a band called Tigers of Pantang from England, and then he got his most notable position replacing Snowy White in Thin Lizzy. And he was on the Thunder and Lightning album, which also had one of these in a song called Cold Sweat, which went something like that. Anyhow, that was an awesome song and great album by Thin Lizzy. And then he joined Whitesnake soon after that for the Slide It In album, and basically that was my favorite version of Whitesnake, with Sykes, Coverdale, Cozy Powell on drums, and Neil Murray on bass. And I think they had John Lord at one point in time on keyboards, but mostly the keyboard guy was kind of stuffed to the side. They did that in the 80s for some reason. But I was here to talk about John Sykes in the 1987 Whitesnake album, because I was back in 1989, 88, 89, I was recording an album in Toronto in a place called Phase 1 in Phase 1 Recording Studios, which is still there, which is awesome, because a lot of recording studios are kind of going to the wayside these days. But east end of Toronto, I was with a band called Max Cron. Don't look for us on the internet or anything like that, because there's nothing. There's nothing out there. Nothing out there. There's absolutely nothing. Because we never got signed. We completed the album and didn't get signed. And subsequently, like how most of the bands, and when they don't get signed, they break up. Anyhow. Some great friends though still. Rodney, my drummer, I played in about 4 or 5 other bands with him, and lifelong friend, and so that got something out of it that way. Got no money out of it at all, but anyhow, we recorded the first album with Andy and another guy named Mike, bass player, in Phase 1, and basically had a great experience. But recording the album was we got into the studio, a great place, very laid back. And a lot of gold and platinum records on the walls, and I was looking around. Most of the Canadian artists like Max Webster and Rush and Triumph recorded a bunch of albums there. But the Whitesnake, 87 Whitesnake self-titled album was on the wall with Still of the Night and Here I Go Again and all those songs. And I asked one of the production guys who was helping us out, "Hey, were you here for that?" He goes, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Well, what did they record here?" Because I knew it was recorded in a bunch of different parts of the world. And he goes, "Well, all the guitars were done here." I go, "Oh, really, man? Oh, you gotta tell me about John Sykes. You know, what was going on?" I mean, he goes, "Oh," and then he told me a bunch of stories about how they recorded that album. First of all, they had 20 tracks of guitar, for just guitar, 20 tracks, and which wouldn't surprise anybody who's familiar with that album. It's probably not too surprised, especially when you get into the whole, like when it starts to do that whole part where it goes, there's a lot of layers of guitar in there, you know, and even those big slides that was just there's about 4 guitars doing that, or about, not more, and then. A lot of the solos and everything else. The guy, production guy, who told me was talking to me. He just basically said 20 tracks of guitars, and he basically double tracked and triple tracked all the solos. And if anyone knows that album, that's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible stuff. He walked in with like an arsenal of guitars, and then basically was sitting back, and it was the first time I guess Mesa Boogie Mark IVs came out, and he was like one of the first guys to have them, I believe, because the guys that have never seen them before, the guys that worked in the studios, a bunch of Marshalls and those things. And then he was sitting in the they said he sat in the control room and just did this. And the building was shaking, they said, you know, and he said, oh, it just doesn't sound right. And just kept hitting chords, and then, so what happened was they blocked the studio time. This was an expensive studio. They blocked the studio time and took all his amps, or whatever amps they were having trouble with, and shot them all back to California to the mod guy, and they blocked the time, so that they waited about a week and a half for the amps, or maybe even 2 weeks, and basically they were paying for studio time during that time, so that was pretty incredible. But anyhow, yeah, the guy just apparently was just an amazing guy to watch and play. I'm not going to tell some of the stories about the other side of things, because I don't want to say anything bad about a guy that I look up to like there. Right? Anyways, but just yeah. So just a little one thing about John Sykes before I go. I just wanted to tell you those stories about Phase One in that album, which was pretty good. Another tidbit was also Adrian Vandenberg was actually there too, and if you guys really know that album, Vandenberg did the solo on Here I Go Again, but I think that's the only thing he did on the album. But he was there, so it was kind of weird that, you know, if anyone doesn't know that after that album was made and in the can and everything else, Coverdale fired the whole band, and Vandenberg was his new lead guy, along with Vivian Campbell and a whole bunch of other hired guns, Tommy Aldridge and Rudy Sarzo. And Sykes never played with them again, which really everybody would like to have seen that version, because when they went out on the road for Still of the Night, it was just a bunch of other guys kind of playing the songs, kind of like what's going on now. But you know, we love Doug Aldrich anyhow. But just one thing before we go here, a lot of people do Still of the Night on YouTube, and I just wanted to just correct one thing. When that first riff, that riff comes in, it actually goes, that A's in there. I hear a lot of people just go, just listen to it, because that's there. The only person I've actually seen do it on a video on YouTube is actually Doug Aldrich, so yeah, so it's there. Just wanted to tell people that, because it kind of bothers me when I see that, and it's, just listen to it, and hey, don't write bad things. It's just me. Anyhow, take it easy, have a good one, and don't work too hard, and I should be a little bit sooner with my videos. Anyhow, take it easy.